Hi everyone, if you caught my previous video you'll know that I recently did a firework display in Liverpool to celebrate the reopening of a church. And I thought I'd show that video again, but this time provide a running commentary as we go. Now, I always like to start off my firework displays with something that really kind of captures the audience's attention. And in this show, you'll see that the first thing is like a fanned, whistling firework called Whistling Waves. So let's start the show. So right away I've got the audience's attention, and then you'll notice across the front of the display there's then 5 coloured flares that start off as coloured flames, and then they will eventually erupt into little mine effects. There goes the first one. And then at this point as well, on the 3 posts, so the centre post and the outer 2, you'll see there's little flashing strobes as well, strobe fireworks. There go the other 2 mines. In the background we've got a colour shooter that's doing a fanned and crackling and coloured comets in the air. That's all those front mine flares gone now. So then we kind of move to a transition to a white kind of section of the show. So we've got some white strobe Roman candles going there in a V formation, as well as we've still got the 3 strobes running along the front. And then we had a bit of colour with some red and green coloured pearls. And then we go into some cakes that break a little bit higher than you can actually see on this particular camera angle. You'll notice as well I tend to do stuff in pairs or in multiples, sometimes 3 or even 5 things at once. The reason I do that really is just because if one firework doesn't go off, you've not got a dead area, a dead gap in the show. The show still goes with just 1 firing instead of 2. So I always try and double up where I can. We've got another cake running now. It's doing a few crackles as well. It's actually 2 cakes again in a V formation. And then across the front we've got 3 white fountains. You know, in my shows I like to have layers at different heights. So whereas some shows everything's aerial, I like to do a mixture of aerial things and low level things, just to give that extra kind of texture and layer. What I do, you'll notice though that these ground fireworks are not actually on the ground, they're lifted up on posts. Posts are about 1.5, 1.8 metres high. And again, it just makes the effect look bigger than it is. If these fountains were right on the ground, they'd look a lot smaller. And in the background we got some tourbillons, some spinning, whirling comets going in the air. And then, yeah, that little gap, it's always really difficult with consumer fireworks to know exactly how long they're going to last. Sometimes they last a little bit longer than I expect, sometimes they last a few seconds shorter. So on that particular occasion, those spinning ones finished a little bit sooner than I was expecting. But I do have the ability on my remote control, because this is all computerised, I have the ability to advance to the next firework. So I think on that occasion I just advanced because the gap was becoming a little bit too long. Next up are the Catherine wheels. Now there were meant to be 2 of these, sadly only one of them ignited. But these are award-winning fireworks. They're called Carousel. It's a carousel wheel by Zeus Fireworks, and it won the best Catherine wheel in this year's 2021 UK Firework Awards. I've done a video on that, and you'll find a link to that in the top right corner here and also in the description. And to go with that, I've got some purple pearls going, crossing over. Again, nice low noise. I'm not one of these people that kind of wants the biggest, loudest fireworks, biggest, loudest bangs. I like to have a variety of different sounds. So it's not just all bangs you'll hear, there's crackles, there's whistles coming up, there's all kinds of different sounds. I like to have some low noise sections of the show as well. And here we've got some falling leaf effects. You can just see at the very top of the screen, they're called falling leaves as they kind of fall down to the ground. And there you can see them a bit in close up. So a couple more cakes again in a V formation. And some nice spinning ones here with really nice sounds on these. Quite unusual. I quite like them. Now these ones are great. This firework's called Hocus Pocus. There's two of them. And they start off as fountains, then they go into a mine effect, and they do it 3 times. You never quite know, there's one of the mines, you never quite know when they're going to erupt. So they're always a great crowd pleaser, because the crowd just thinks they're going to watch a fountain, then all of a sudden you get this eruption into a mine. So there'll be 2 more to come on each side of these 2 mine effects. There's one. And there's the other. And back to fountains, and then 2 more mine effects. So wait for it. There's one. And there's the other. And then here we've got some lemon and blue pearls. Now it's quite unusual because normally most fireworks, it's fair to say, are kind of red and green. So it's nice to have a bit of blue. This is blue and yellow. So it's a little bit unusual. Again, nice low noise effect. And then 2 cakes here, these are called Stardust. They've got a mixture of effects. So they start off with these comets, then they go into these fish effects. You'll see kind of swarming in the sky. And then the comets change from green to red. Again with more fish. Then we've got some horsetail effects in there as well. And some strobes. Then we got some nice red glitter 56 shot candles, 2 of them crossing over. And a cake in the background. A cake is basically just a selection of Roman candle single shots all kind of fused together. So 64 shots on this particular cake. So it's got quite a good duration. It's about 55 seconds long, this particular firework. So it's a good way to extend the length of the display. And then next up we've got, I love these fountains, these are called jelly bean fountains. There are 3 along the front, you'll see the other one start in a second. Now normally fountains just kind of send out showers of sparks. These jelly bean ones sort of send out coloured blobs, which are quite an unusual effect, so I like using these in my displays where I can. Again, having them off the ground gives a much better effect if I just have these right on the ground. Because they don't go very high, these particular effects, but you can see the blobs of colour do fall quite a long way down, so raising them up off the ground is a great way to kind of increase the size of the effect. And a couple of 16-shot cakes in the background. And then we go into a firework called Hummeroids, which I love. I've used it for a number of years, but it creates a really interesting sound, a really unusual sound the crowd really loves. So here he comes.
Very funny.
It's just a great sound with the fireworks going in different directions and creating sort of spinning sounds and whistling sounds and humming sounds. And then next up we've got a couple of crossette cakes. Now crossette cakes, you can see they kind of split into like a cross formation each. Each individual shot goes up and then splits into 4. And And this particular cake's called Eden. It's got some really nice colours in. And this next section is kind of red and blue themed. So we've got a cake that's kind of doing red strobes and blue pearls. And then we've got a couple of candles that will come in that are doing a similar kind of colour and effect. So that between them, they all look quite good. Fill the sky quite nicely. So this is the cake still, and you'll see in a second. There we go. So there's the 2 Roman candles coming in as well. With similar colours. And they're going in a V formation below. And then this is 2 fireworks. There's one that's doing these coloured crackles, and then there's another one called a 3-stage trouble, which is doing 3 different styles of whistle in the background. Which again, an unusual sound. But this is why I put it with other fireworks, because on its own, that one just whistles. It's not particularly great to look at. So by adding it in with another firework, you kind of get a bigger effect. Another cake here. This has got a variety of different effects in. You see there's some glitter, some strobes in there. Different colours. That's quite a nice hang time in the sky as well. It lasts for quite a long time in the sky. And then this one's really unusual as well. This is called a Grek Zorba. And it fires in banks of 5 that kind of go up to the air and then whistle and scream and go off in different directions. It's really unusual. And then coming up is my favourite firework called Screaming Demons. I have all these screeches that just go up into the sky and then silently turn to red and just fall down as falling leaves. Really impressive. Now, everybody thought this was the end of the display, and typically, normally that would be kind of a finale type cake that I would do. But because we wanted to celebrate the opening of the church wanted to add an extra kind of big finale onto the end. So this last minute of fireworks, kind of gold coloured themed, starts off kind of quite slow with 3 gold fountains across the front, but it builds and it builds and it builds, and by the end of it, there's about a dozen fireworks all firing at once.
You're watching,
So this one's doing some nice gold, long-lasting effects, and then we've got some whistling comets going up as well, just to add a bit of noise to the finale. 300 of them going up. And then we've got a couple of candles going in either side, crossing over, doing some gold. Nice gold comets there. Loads of other cakes firing now as well, coming in. Along the front we've got some crackles as well going on, so there's lots of noise. Not so much colour, kind of going for gold on this, so lots of gold coloured fireworks just filling the sky. And then finally at the very end, you'll see everything just launches together. Here we go. That firework's called Brexit, by the way. And then some slices at the front, and then finally some titanium spinning whistles. And yeah, that's the display. So that took about 4 hours to actually rig on the day. There was probably about 2 days of actually programming the computer to fire all that. A lot of the preparation for the fireworks was done off-site in the weeks before. There's probably about 2 weeks worth of work. Just waterproofing the fireworks, getting them all ready, numbering them, fusing them, getting them all ready, planning it all out. So an awful lot of work goes into that show. But again, the audience love it, and we were celebrating opening a church. So it was a great event. It went really well. Only one firework didn't go off, and that was the second Catherine wheel. Everything else fired as expected, and a great time was had by all. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of my other firework videos online.